We're live. Welcome to the Writer's Life. Please me the sight, sound, smells, taste of that particular writer's life, where you get the truth about the writer's life. Yes, I'm alive. A few people have been texting me and emailing me like, "Vin, are you all right? We haven't seen you online at all. We haven't seen the writer's life." And it's true because I took the summer off. I had gotten to a point where I kind of said what I wanted to say over the course of like 3 or 4 years, 3 years anyway. And I was like, I need a bit of a breather. Um, and also, I just write fiction now. That's all I do. I'm not writing journalism anymore. I'm not reporting on anything. I'm not doing any ghosting. Uh, I'm not no commercial work, anything like that. So in that sense, I'm retired from that stuff. So it's just fiction. And I thought when when it came to just writing fiction, um, that I would have time to spare. And it turns out I feel like I'm playing catch up now that I'm just strictly writing fiction. Um, with over 200 titles, it's crazy trying to balance everything. And so like this week I have a big promo going for um, the Embalmer, which always does well, like on BookBub and Bargain Booksy and all those things. I'm not that big, as you guys know, into the Amazon ads and all that sort of stuff. I kind of suck at them anyway. I think if you're over 40, you suck at this stuff, or over 50 anyway. Um, so, um, so I've just been concentrating on that stuff. It's because with the introduction of AI, it's getting harder and harder and harder to compete, and I think in general, people's royalties, writers' royalties, have been going a little steadily down. I don't see that as a problem in the future. It just means I have to switch up my strategy. And I've always been good at that. I've always been a survivor. I've always been really good at that. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm checking my phone because I might be able to get Tom Schreck on with me. I texted him, but he's not getting back to me. So, oh my God, I was drinking coffee outside and I got one of those little seeds that comes off a maple tree in it. Is it a maple tree? An oak tree. Oh, gross. Well, I guess it's not gross. It's camper seasoning, right? That's it for that coffee. So, what has been going on? Well, the summer started dreadfully. And it started dreadfully with the closing of Down and Out Books. Um, as you know, the publishing landscape is changing drastically, and it's getting harder and harder for hard-boiled and noir writers to find a home. Add to that, if you're a man, you're now relegated to the 35 to 40% of people of people who are being published. Women have taken over that. It's completely flipped on its head from where it was in the 20th century. Completely flipped on its head, which I'm not, it just is what it is. That's progress, right? What's Tom say? Oh, he's in a financial meeting. So, he's in a financial meeting, Tommy. So what? Put it off. It's just where it's at. So for us boys, it makes things even more difficult. And add to that, if you write the stuff that I write, which is really traditional, gritty noir, you're gonna It's not going to be easy for you. But Down and Out was one of those publishers you could call them. I could call Eric and just be like, I have a new novel, and he'd say, all right, I'll have Lance schedule it. You're not even gonna read it? No, I don't need to read it because I know it'll be good. And and it was like, I mean, we got nice contracts, but the advances, there were no advances or anything like that. But it was like a club of all these stellar noir and hard boiled authors. It was a place we could count on. We all published elsewhere too, but it was just that one publisher that we really counted on. And he, at the beginning of the summer, late spring, he sent us a note that just said, "Sorry, fellas and ladies, but I can't do it anymore. The company is not making money, and I can't keep supporting it with my own cash." So, and he said, "And by the way, nobody's getting paid. Sorry." And no one bitched at him because we all appreciated what he had done for us in the field. I won two thriller. No, I won a thriller award with him for Moonlight Weeps. I won a PWA Seamus Award with him for Moonlight Weeps. I was nominated in 26 this year for another thriller award, Moonlight, uh, Terminal Moonlight, and I was a finalist for two Derringers with him. So like so many awards, Edgar's, like so many books that he published, won so many awards. So he was putting out quality material. It's just that the marketing lacked, and if you weren't doing the bulk of the marketing on your own, you were going nowhere. I would get book bubs and stuff like that, and he and I would split the cost and stuff like that. So I would do okay. But then, as Bear Media was growing, I found myself spending more and more time promoting those books over those that I published elsewhere, because it only makes sense, right? If you have, you're gonna promote your own baby over somebody else's, right? That's just human nature, and so that's where it's at. So even though he went out, um, it didn't really affect me that much. I was just like, okay, fine. I'm going to take my books back and put them on, redo them through Bear Media and re-edit them, new covers, and get them out and make actual money on them. And that's exactly what's happening. In fact, Moonlight Kills just came out last week, and it's already doing okay. So next month I'll do Moonlight Runs, and then I think I have one more that'll be a reprint. I also have Quietly Into the Night, which was a Down and Out book. That has to be completely redone. For 5 minutes, it was published by Alibi Syndicate Press, but they immediately saw the light as well, and decided to change their publishing methodology. So they said, you know what, we're not really going to do books. We're not going to do novels. We're not going to do reprints, especially. So take your rights back and you do it. And I was like, okay, all the better. I'm not exactly sure what they're doing over there, but if you contact them, they will be happy to talk to you about it. So that there was that. And then there was me working like a dog every day, including weekends. And then there was my agent retired, and I hadn't really paid attention to it. And I had hired this other agent on a recommendation from a friend of mine. And wait, hang on a second. I gotta get a drink of water now that I have the thing in my mouth. Ooh, I need new headphones pretty soon. And she was very nice, but she was very new. And I was just, I thought I'd give her a shot. I'm at this stage, I'm not even sure I need an agent. And that's what a lot of my colleagues are telling me. They're like, Vince, after everything you've done and all the books you have, all the IP, do you really need an agent at this point? But I thought, I felt kind of naked without one. Um, so I hired her, and it just wasn't working. If I need an agent who's going to talk to the big dogs all the time, like, and have their cell phones and stuff like that. So I did have a couple agents actually contact me about what's going on. A couple of those big dog agents, and then I came back and I said, "Look, I do have a manuscript. If you want to see it or whatever." Ghost, complete ghost. Boom. So I'm like, huh. Sold over 1 million books. Like won all those awards. Like something's going on there. But you know what? Again, it's just the nature of a business that's struggling, if you even want to call this a business. Um, I feel like this picture is not clear. Um, so then I was approached by another entity that would absolutely replace the need for an agent. And it took some legwork on my part to get the information that they needed. And I'm being cryptic here, but I'm being cryptic here on purpose. And I cannot tell you what that entity is. I cannot tell you what deal I am working on. But if it does go through, and I won't know for about a month, it would be a game changer for me in my career. And if it doesn't go through, nothing changes. Nothing changes. I just keep doing what I'm doing, writing what I want to write when I want to write it, publishing what I want to publish when I want to publish. Now, as far as the other people go who don't uh, publish traditionally and independently, they only stick to traditional stuff. I really, and people who write in my genre, I really don't know where they can go. I guess there's, some people are working with, I don't even want to say the name. I shouldn't even bring this up, but there's like 3 or 4 um, small to medium sized publishers that it seems to me people are working with. Um, I look at the numbers that these people are doing, and they're terrible. So I don't know what kind of marketing they have or anything like that. I really think at this stage of the game, after 650 to 60 traditionally published books, I think the best move is to start your own publishing company and just publish yourself. And that's it. Don't get mixed up with publishing somebody else who's gonna who's gonna hate you because they're gonna feel as though you're not paying attention to their book and all that sort of stuff. That would be my advice. And this is just the way things have been going and the way they are going. It's an independent world now. It's just the way it is, and you can either adapt to it or you can just go do something else, um, or you can come up with a new name that sounds like a female. You know what I mean? Just come up with a new deal and come up with a female detective. You know, I don't know. I don't want to do that. I do have one female detective though. I wrote one book called The Concrete Pearl. Didn't do that great. Um, I just got all my numbers from Amazon Publishing when I was with Thomas and Mercer, and they were really good for the most part. And Concrete Pearl did okay, you know, humble numbers compared to like some of the people they publish. But my other female protagonist, Rebecca Underhill from the Rebecca Underhill trilogy, which includes the first book, The Remains, that's sold close to 200,000 copies. So, the women, they got something going here, you know, and let's face it, most readers are women these days, but, um, you know, I'm reading Raymond Chandler and loving it. I bought his like omnibus short stories. It's going to take me like until Christmas to finish it, but I'm loving, and that's because I'm just loving his prose. I'm loving every page, and I'm like, um, loving his metaphors, loving his delivery. Um, it's in your face. It's just, like God. Wish I could, wish I had his talent. Um, I'm no slouch, but Ray Chandler was one of the best. So there was that. All that was happening this summer. I didn't go anywhere either because a little bit cash poor until now. Now I'm flush again. Um, so all I did was make plans. So I'm leaving for Italy October 15th for my writer's retreat. Um, I'll be back at almost Christmas Day. So that's a little over 2 months. And then I'll ski a little bit for a couple months. And then I'm going to Azerbaijan in Georgia to do research for a new Chase Baker novel because I have not written a Chase Baker novel in a while. What's a while for me? Like a year and a half. So, but I needed a new exotic landscape, and I thought I love Turkey. All you have to do is go to Turkey and go straight for a little while and hook a left, and you'll be at Azerbaijan. So I'm looking forward to that trip big time. And then I think from there, I'm going to go right back to the apartment in Italy for another couple months until it starts getting warm, and the tourists come in, and then I'll bolt. Maybe stop in Paris to see a friend of mine on the way back, or I might see her this time around. I still haven't made that plan yet. We have to see. So there's the travel plans. Health-wise, kicking ass. In fact, docs say like I'm perfectly good again. Which is pretty good because 2 years ago I almost bought it twice, not once but twice. I know I haven't been totally open about that whole thing, but if something like that ever happens to you, it does change your life. And if it doesn't change your life for the better, it should. I find myself now, if I have a problem with somebody, I confront them about it. Example, I was in a bar the other night, just having my one beer after work, and this guy shows up, and he's a former cop, real big guy, but I'm not like, I'm not afraid of him or anything. So I was just like, we used to be friendly. And I'm like, so I walked up to him. I'm like, what's going on, man? I noticed like you don't speak to me anymore. And he just said, because I don't like you. And he's like, go sit back over there. I'm like, really? I'm like, I mean, come on. I even started laughing. And he's like, no, I just don't care for you. I was like, okay. I'm like, something must have happened, right? Something. Just tell me so I can fix it. He wouldn't say a word. He wouldn't look me in the eyes. He just kept staring into his drink. And so I said, okay, I did what I could. I manned up and I asked you about it, and you refused to give me any kind of answer other than sort of a non-answer. But that's the kind of thing I've been doing lately. I've been like, if I have an issue with somebody or kind of an outstanding problem, I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. For instance, as we all know, my daughter hasn't spoken to me in like 3 years, maybe more now, because the years go by fast. And I'd like to speak to her. I don't understand what that's all about. Her mother doesn't speak to me. I don't know what that's all about, but I'm going to get to the bottom of it one way or another, in a good way. Why not bury the hatchet? I've never understood that saying because bury the hatchet. Doesn't it sound violent? So I don't know. Okay, so there's that. Another thing. So this spring, I started dating again, and I've dated maybe 5 different women. I I went on one of the dating apps. I paid for like a week, and that resulted in somebody. And then I just through Facebook, I got a few dates or whatever. Um, in fact, I just met somebody else now. I don't think it's going to work either. But let me just tell you something. Every single one of them was a disaster, complete and utter plane crash. Not that nothing against them at all. It just was. Probably more me because I'm a pain in the ass. I gotta do things my way when I want to do them, and it's tough to start a relationship with somebody when it's like, oh well, I'm gonna be gone for 2 months in the fall, and then I come back and I'm gonna ski and stuff like that, and then I'm gonna go away again for 2 to 3 months. So it's hard. In a way, it's kind of like you can have one, or you can have one lifestyle, or you can have another that includes um, a significant other. Um, I That's what it feels like. Although I haven't lost hope. What I'm trying to find is somebody who's just like me, who wants to do exactly what I do. Doesn't mind bringing like a backpack or just a carry-on the plane, and we just go to Europe for a few months. But does that person exist? No, probably not, because they have lives. Um, or if you're out there, let me know. Um, so there's that. Mom's getting a little bit older, but she's doing great. She just turned 90 yesterday. Still living by herself, but she has in-home care. Um, so lucky that she's doing okay. Um, I brought her some roses yesterday and a lobster salad sandwich, which she loves. So she was happy. Um, Sons are doing great. I wish I could tell you more, but what they do is so secretive. Um, I can't. I've been. Um, they made me commit to their anonymity. And actually, speaking of my daughter, she's doing great too. She's got a bunch of music videos out, and one day I'll put up some links to them. You can check them out. It's pop music. It's not really my thing, but I think she's uber talented, and she's going to go very far. What else? Um, I guess that would cover most of it. It's just been a weird summer. I'm ready to get out of here. I'm ready to move out of this place. So I got to find another place to live as well. I'll do that when I get back from Italy. It'll be another place to rent. I'm thinking about out of state. Um, I mean, it's wacky. Everything from like spending full time in Italy to like, nah, I just want to do part time in Italy and maybe Wyoming, something like that. You know, but I've been saying this for ages, but this time I'm gonna make the move. So that's all I got. Yes, I am alive, and I'll start come to you more often. I'm paying for like the upgraded restream, so this should be a better video than normal. And I gotta get my son's podcast setup is so professional. He's got the big mic and like the amplifier and all that sort of stuff. I need something like that. But what I also need is something that I could take to Europe with me. Like one of those little mics. If anybody has any suggestions, let me know. And another thing I'll start doing is like putting up a notice on social media that like I'll be going live at 3 o'clock, so you can have you all can chime in and you know make comments. Let me see if there's any comments going now. I don't think so. Oh, let me try this. This is like a new feature I can do now. Um, Show. All right. See, this is this is the embalmer. This is what's for sale all week. On my new website, there's another thing I did this summer. I set up my new website, www.vinzandri.com, vinzandri.com. It's through that new author-friendly website designer, Tertulia. It's great. It's absolutely great because you can sell direct off of there, and I can sell paperbacks. There's a lot of large print books I'm selling now as well, or I can sell through your favorite retailers, not necessarily the Zon. Um, so check that out. That's a great series. This has always been a Bear Media series, and it's done really well for me. And The Embalmer is the first book in that series. All right, so now I'm going to try to get rid of this. bear with me. Let me see how this works. Replace, hide. You can. I'll just hide it. I'm not going to press stop yet because that could be a disaster. All right, that's all I got, everybody. Let's hear from everybody when you watch the replay, and I hope everybody's doing well and you're going to enjoy the rest of your summer. It's only about a week left of non-official summer. And ciao, ciao.